Hi, I'm Commissioner Rebecca Regalado. Thank you for joining us on your lunch break. Today, we're talking with one of our amazing community partners about the different programming and opportunities that we have and how we work with them and how we can work with you to do more and provide these services to all the residents of Miami-Dade County.
Okay, so we're just gonna dive right in today. Last week we kind of covered the high level context of skills, of agents, of the kind of the universe of the possible. Today, what I want to do is I want to spend a little bit of time literally showing you hands-on how we can implement a lot of this. I do have all of the slides available, and I have some step-by-step hands-on available as well. So if I told you that, starting today, you could create a tireless expert employee who works 24 by 7, 7 days a week, never calls in sick, never asks for a raise, and gets better every single time that you use them. If you are a business owner and you're not paying attention, then you're going to get left behind. So again, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Santos Alejandro. Thank you so much for the invite, and especially I want to thank Commissioner Regalado. So over the next hour, we're going to be doing something genuinely exciting. We're going to take this technology that most people think of that only exists in these large tech companies, and we're going to put that technology to use for you and your business right here, right now in Miami. So this isn't going to be a quote lecture about the future of AI. I want this to be more of a hands-on session about what you can do with AI before you leave this session today. So by the end of today, I want you to have at least one practical toolkit, one real template, one real workflow, and I want you to start thinking about a clear 30-day action plan on what you can do starting tomorrow. So here's the problem that every small business owner knows. Let me ask you this. How many of you, if you own a business, how many of you're wearing more than 3 hats in your business right now? Most of you are going to be the CEO of your business, the marketer, you're going to be the customer service rep, you're going to be the bookkeeper, and sometimes you're going to be the janitor. But here's the thing, right? That's not a personal failing. That's the reality of running a business, especially a small business. But here's the thing. You're doing the work of 10 people. And I've been there, right? I've signed my name more on the front of checks than on the back of checks. I know that there's been times where I've had to pay payroll before I could pay my mortgage. You have to do what you got to do, right? If you want to make this thing work. You're doing the work of 10 people. And most of that work, I'm going to tell you, is repetitive. You're writing the same type of email. You're pulling together the same weekly report. You're creating the same type of social media posts. You're researching the same type of competitor information. And you're doing this over and over again. And the cost of that is not just your time, it's the cost of not doing the things that actually can grow your business, doing the creative work, doing the relationship building, doing the strategic thinking. So every hour you spend on a repetitive task is an hour that you're not spending on the work that only you can do for your business. And that's what I want to fix starting today. So I want you to picture this. I want you to imagine that you walk into your office tomorrow morning, and instead of opening up your laptop and immediately drowning in task, you just type in a single sentence to your AI agent. And yes, that's what I want us to build today. Something like, hey, I want you to generate this week's social media content for our restaurant. Or I want you to pull together a competitive pricing summary. And then I want you to draft a follow-up email for the 5 leads from last week's event. And then you just walk away and go get your coffee or whatever it is that you do. And by the time that you come back to your desk, it's all done for you. All of it. With the quality and the consistency of someone who's done that exact same task 100 times before. That's not science fiction. That's what I want us to walk away from today. I want to show you how to do that today. The playing field is being leveled. And so you're here at the exact right moment. Last week, I introduced 2 platforms. I introduced OSP.net and well, I didn't really introduce, but I talked a little bit about Manus. These are going to be the platforms that give you a competitive advantage. So we're going to use two today, two distinct, and you can already go to Manus.im. Like I said, I want today to be more hands-on. You can go to Manus.im now. These are going to be two platforms that are going to give you an unfair advantage. Manus and OSP.net. And it's important from the very beginning that you understand the difference between these two because they serve two completely different but important purposes. Manus, I want you to think of Manus as your general purpose. I'm going to say AI agent, but what I want you to really think is Manus is going to be your general business consultant. It's that good. It's so good that Manus was a Chinese company. So if anybody has a problem with that, you can sign off now. But Manus was a Chinese company. They were so good that they got the attention of Claude, OpenAI, Facebook, or Meta, or whoever they want to be called now. And Meta had them move from Beijing. They reestablished in, I think, Singapore. And Facebook purchased Manus about a couple months ago for $2 billion. So they're no longer a Chinese company. So like I said, if anybody has any objections to that, feel free to sign off. They're the best of the best. They're a general purpose AI agent. They're fantastic for everyday ad hoc business tasks, researching topics, writing drafts, analyzing spreadsheets, automating daily workflow. It's flexible, it's fast, it handles this kind of broad spectrum of your daily work. OSP.net, on the other hand, what I showed you last week, it's really more of an industry, an industry grade kind of workflow for specialized roles. It's the big boy, like complex accounting, legal document review, HR compliance, deep operational analysis. With OSP.net, that's where you go in and you build literally these synthetic employees. Together, they can cover literally every single aspect of your business. That's the difference between the two. So let's dive in. Okay, before we go any further, there's something very important that you need to know. There is this concept in AI. It's now a standard that works across all of the major large language model vendors. It's called a skill. And I want to make sure that you're speaking the same language because you're going to hear two words a lot today. You're going to hear skills and you're going to hear agents. And they mean very specific things on all of these platforms. An agent, whenever you hear me say the word agent, I want you to think of a synthetic employee. I want you to think in the era of knowledge workers. I want you to think that an agent is somebody or something. You can anthropomorphize it. What's a tough word? If you want to, think of it as a person. I want you to think of an agent as almost like a person. Yes, sir.
Question. I'm sure people are going to Manus. I just created an account. There is a 7-day free trial. What I did is I X'd all the options and it took me to the place where you type, and I see that I have 1,300, I guess,
Credits.
free credits.
Yes.
So that is the way people, unless there's another way, please correct me, Dr.
Nope,
Lee.
that's it. And
Okay.
one other thing, Alejandro, that I would add for everyone is that they give you 300 free credits a day. So it replenishes with 300 a day for free. So keep that in mind. So if you create your account, the credits are going to be kind of expensive. I'm going to start with that, but it's next level. Compared to hiring an employee, it's a fraction of the cost. But yes, you'll get, I think, like 1,000 or 1,300 credits for free. And every day they're going to replenish you 300 more credits.
It says it right here. So perfect. So create your account. When you see the options to pay or whatever, you exit on the upper right, and then you should be able to go to the input window and see your 1,300 free credits. Okay, cool.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Okay. When you think of an agent, I want you to literally think of a synthetic employee. That's what I want you to think of. Okay. It's the executor. It's the AI that's actually doing the work. Think of that like it's the chef in your kitchen. An AI agent can browse the internet. It can write documents. It can analyze data. It can send emails. It can build reports. It's the who that's going to get things done. When you think of a skill, on the other hand, a skill is more like the recipe. A skill is a saved playbook. It's a set of instructions that's going to tell the agent exactly how to do a specific task in your specific way every single time. Here's the distinction that matters. If you don't define the skills, and think about this, these skills are going to be unique to your office. It's going to be unique to your business. It's up to you. It's your responsibility to define the skills that work for your business. Without skills, every time you ask the AI to do something, you have to explain it all over again from scratch. If you have employees, you have to hope and pray that the employees are going to understand your process well enough to get good results. With skills, you explain things once perfectly, and then you never have to explain it again. So the agent plus the skills, it equals a synthetic employee. It equals a repeatable expert workflow. And a repeatable expert workflow, that's the foundation of any scalable business. That's what we're talking about today. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the anatomy of a skill. That doesn't really matter that much. Understand that a skill is just going to be a text file. That's all you need to know for right now. But what does matter is going to be some use cases. I want to start to get specific because I know you're sitting here thinking, okay, but what does that actually mean for me and my business? So let's talk about Miami businesses specifically. Let's say you run a restaurant or you run a cafe or you're a realtor. Imagine the skill that generates your weekly social media content calendar, writes the captions for your daily specials, suggests hashtags on what's trending in Miami's food scene. And you run that once a week. And your entire social media presence is handled. If you're into real estate, one of Miami's biggest industries, imagine the skill that automatically generates property listing summaries, that drafts personalized client follow-up emails, and pulls together neighborhood market reports. Every agent in your office using the same high-quality workflow every single time. You run a retail boutique. Think of a skill that analyzes your inventory data, flags slow-moving items, compares supplier pricing, generates a reorder recommendation report. If you do it more than once, you can automate it. That's the rule of thumb. That's what I want you to leave here with today. Let me pull up a demo here. Let me go to Manus. And by the way, I'm going to put this in chat so everybody has it. GitHub.
We do not have a chat feature, Dr. Lee. Or what I can do is I can share it with everybody
Perfect.
when we send out the recording.
Okay, excellent. I'm gonna, for right now, what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna put this in our Q&A.
And only you and I have access to the Q&A.
Got it.
So you could do is you could send it to me via email.
Got it.
After
Okay.
we're done, and then I'll share it with everybody.
You got it. Okay, so just so everybody knows, the deck is here, and there's a cheat sheet that's here, and there's some step-by-step activities for you to do as well. So that'll all be coming out after this is over. Okay, so this is Manus right here. This is Manus. So I pay for Manus because it is Manus.im. I pay for Manus because Manus is, frankly, it's that good. Manus is that good. It can do several things. The thing that we care about in the beginning, however, is creating skills, right? That's what we care about in the beginning. Manus, the way that Manus works, Manus is not one AI like ChatGPT. I don't want you to think of this like ChatGPT. In ChatGPT, you put in one request, you get one answer from the AI. Manus works fundamentally differently. With Manus, you put in one goal, and based off of that goal, it'll go out and it'll create 10, 20, 30 different virtual machines, and they'll all start to work together to achieve that goal. They'll pick the best AI for that part of the job. So if I created let me see here. And by the way, I will throw this out here as well. I've mentioned this before. If you go to whisperflow.ai, I personally think that this will improve your efficiency significantly. There's a difference between sitting there like a goober and typing in everything that pops into your brain. Your brain thinks differently. You miss so much nuance and context. This is free. Go to whisperflow.ai, press one button and talk to the AI. That's what I use. So if I wanted to, let's say I have a presentation that I have to give to a customer. Okay, I have a presentation that I want to give to a customer. Then what I would do is I would say create slides, and this is the paid version. You probably have Manus Lite. I have the paid version. I would say create slides, and you'll recognize this right here. Look at this right here. And I would say, I need to give a business pitch. I need this to be 4 slides long. This is for my customer. They're a pool service company. I need you to create the deck for me. I also need you to create the business pitch for me. I'm trying to sell them voice agents so that the voice agents can answer phones and manage their calendar, schedule, manage their sales pipeline for them. That's what I'm trying to sell to them. I need for this to be masterful. I need for this to almost sound like a TED Talk when I talk to my customer. I want my customer to, I want to deeply resonate with my customer. They run, say, a pool service and specifically and in Coral Gables. So that's the audience. So you know what their customers are going to look like. I need for you to create the deck, and I also need for you to create the word for word what I need to say on each slide. All right, let it fly. Okay, so you're talking to this thing, right? Everything that we've talked about before leads you to this point right here. I'm gonna go ahead and press enter. And what should happen is that this should, like I said in the beginning, you want this thing to serve as your business consultant. I'm going to hit this right here, and you can see it thinking in real time. Notice the skill right there. Look at that there. Skill.md. Look at what it's doing. Based off of what I said, it's going to try to create a skill that's going to give me exactly what I'm looking for. Any of you in here work for any business whatsoever, part of what you do is going to involve interfacing with customers. My nephew said it best. If you don't have customers, you're your own biggest fan. What good is it to be your own biggest fan? If you're dealing with customers, let's start to use this AI. Let's start to use this AI so that you can get into the mind of your customer. Let's start to, this thing said it's doing 10 slides. Hold on. I asked for 4 slides, dude. What are you doing? You know, I'll let it slide. But what I want you to see as we're going through here is that it's not only giving me what I asked for, it's going in creating a skill, a process where I can make this repeatable. Okay. So it's giving me the pitch deck. Let me give this thing a second to finish doing its thing. How many of you have to interact with customers? And I can tell you, I've used this same exact process here. I had to pitch recently to to an international company based out of the Bay Area. I use this exact same prompt. I have to pitch to local companies. I use the exact same prompt, but I go a little further than that. What I'll do is I'll go out there and I'll get their LinkedIn profile. I'll go in, I'll grab their website, copy all of the content from their website and put all of that into here and say, hey, I need to give a 4-slide business pitch or whatever the case may be. Okay. So this is where it is so far. So you can look at this here. You can look at this here, and the output of this is going to be killer every single time. If you got nothing out of this, just understanding how Manus can help you with your customer interactions, this alone will make a difference. It didn't create the slide, so I would go back here and I would say, this is the important part. Thank you. What I want you to do is I want you to build a skill and register this skill so that I can use this for other customers as well. Okay. And here it is, creating a skill. So I'm not sure if you recall, but I said anything that you do more than once, build a skill out of this, and then you can do it perfectly every single time. Every single time. So I'm giving you an example here of how to build a pitch deck and make a skill so that you can come back at any time and say, hey, instead of me pitching this pool company, I'm going to pitch, this client, this, billionaire that's moving in from California. I'm trying to access that customer so that we can use them so we can, get commissions off of some mansion. I saw Sergey Brin just purchased something out in Miami recently. So both of the Google folks have left the Bay Area and they're here in Miami with us. Okay, so those are skills. Use skills if you want to create you need to create a sales script, right? Create a skill for that sales script. You need to find businesses in Miami. Create a skill that'll go out there and find businesses in Miami. That's the part where it's hard to really kind of appreciate exactly what you do, because it's up to you to create skills that matter for you and for your business. Okay, I'm not going to let that keep flying. Let me keep going here. But that's the first thing that I would recommend that you do. Okay. Every industry is going to, be unique. I want everybody in this room to see for yourselves, some different examples. Let's say we have law firms or we have accounting practices. And this is where things really start to shine, because skills can do things like handle client intake summaries, can generate document review checklists, can draft standard correspondence. Okay, and can do all of this with high professional accuracy. Say you have health and wellness studios. A skill can write class schedule announcements, can create client retention and email sequences, can generate monthly performance summaries. For construction companies and trade businesses, right? Big in Miami. Imagine the skill that generates professional bid proposals from your project notes and creates project status reports for clients and drafts subcontractor communications. Every industry has repetitive work. Skills eliminates that repetitive work. And the thing is once you build a skill for your business, you own it. It works for you every single day, every day. The question I want you to be asking yourself right now is, what is the one task in my business that I do over and over again that takes me way too long and that I wish somebody else could just handle that, because that task, that's your very first skill. Let me give you an example of something that I'm working on right now. Let me create a new task, for instance. In this task, I can find it. Here, I'll use the last one. It's fine. Okay, so in this task, I'm going to do this. I promised audio, video transcription. Let me do this. Based off of my voice agent pitch deck skill, what I want you to do is I want you to create a one-page infographic explainer for my services. Okay. And while it's building this, let me take a second to say something. This is more personal. This is maybe more my preference. One of the things that I hate with a passion is when somebody sends me a 10, 15, 20 page document for me to read. They put all of this work into building this document. And I'm going to tell you, just in case we ever do business together, I ain't reading all of that. Most folks are not reading all of that. You put together, this AI lets you put all of this wordy stuff together. And so you start shipping out to people these massive documents. Nobody has time to read all that stuff. So usually when I get a large email, the first thing that I do, or large, proposal or document or whatever, I put it into here and I literally say that I don't have time to read all this stuff. Just give me the bullet points. And now I've gone even a step further and I'll say, give me a one-page explainer infographic so I can just look at it and have a storyboard of what it is I'm trying to, what it is they're trying to convey to me. And I do the opposite as well. If I'm trying to pitch, or if I have a proposal, what I'll do is I'll write my proposal first. And after I write my proposal, then I'll say, give me the bullet points of this so that an executive can see the high level quickly. And they appreciate that. I swear they do. If they want to go into details, they can read my proposal. But above and beyond that, I'll also create a one-page infographic, just like I showed you right here. And what almost always happens is that we'll get, when we get a follow-up call, they don't sit there and open up the proposal. They'll open up the one-page infographic, and our conversation will be anchored in that one-page infographic that represents the entire proposal. So part of this was how to create audio, video, and transcription. There's a use case. If you want to get read, ironically, you create basically a great big fat coloring book for people to look at. Okay. If I click on this, you can see it's over here doing its thing in Manus. This is different from ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. This is one of the best agentic frameworks that exist on this planet right now. So I'm gonna give this just one more second. Hopefully we'll reach the end soon, because I would like for you to see what this looks like. Okay, so it looks like we are approaching the end. Okay. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there is an infographic. That's a one pager. I'm not saying that this is perfect. I'm not saying that's going to get it right on the first try, but I am saying that this is absolutely something that you want to integrate. Okay, absolutely something that you want to integrate. In fact, that's one of the rules. Never accept what it gives you on the first try. And by the way, everything that we're covering here, it's already in here in the documents over here. So that'll be coming out to everyone. Okay. Okay. Let me answer a couple of questions that are in the that I see in the Q&A. So question number one. Manus or OSP, does it get to keep and use your data? Okay, so if you use Manus, the answer to that is going to be maybe. All right. I mean, honestly, Facebook purchased Manus, so you get what you get. Keep that in mind. And Facebook, they're not your friend, right? I mean, their value is to take your data, so it comes with the territory. OSP.net, the answer is no. All of that's custom. You get to keep your data, but they're building these synthetic employees for you. What is the liability from a data privacy perspective when you upload or share information with the agent? Again, with Manus, what they do is they reserve the right to use your data for training to make the model better. But if you have a paid subscription, then they won't take your data and send it back out. So that's the answer to that. Why is WhisperFlow better than the microphone option in Manus? WhisperFlow works with anything. You just click into a text box, press one button, and start talking. So WhisperFlow changes the dynamic. It changes the way that you interface with the AI. As you sit there, I hope you notice when I sit there and talk, I'm not sitting there thinking about, how to frame it and all. I just sit there and just whatever's in my head just comes right out. And it's not restricted to Manus. I use WhisperFlow for everything. Use Manus.am. Juan, just use Manus.am for right now. We're talking about skills, building repeatable skills. I would just focus on Manus.im for right now, not worry about using the others right now. The thing is what I'm showing you is an industry standard. So once you create the skill, if you decide to go to another platform, you can extract that skill and use it in other platforms. In fact, I'll since you brought that up, I'm not trying to recommend anybody go here or don't go here, but here is essentially what we're talking about right here. Use Manus to build a skill. Hey, I need to do whatever. I need to do prospecting. You create a prospecting skill in Manus, and then you can use that skill in Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude or anything. But I use Manus to create the skill, and I can use that skill anywhere I want. But if you go to drlee.io, there's always a lot of I think it's good stuff, but it answers specifically the question that you're asking right there. Okay. So I've kind of done this, a few times already. I've already shown you how to build a skill. Okay. It's very simple to create a skill. So if I go to Manus, do new task, and I'm just going to tell it, I need for you to create a skill where I can upload a Excel spreadsheet. And when I upload that Excel spreadsheet, it's going to have my sales data. And I want you to write a sales summary report on my business. And then I want you to save that workflow as a skill. Um, and I want you to name that skill weekly dash sales dash report and give it some short description. Okay. So we had talked a lot about building these synthetic employees. To build an employee should have skills. A real employee or an AI employee, they should have skills. It's your job to create these skills. Okay. All right, so I think this should be just about done. All right, so there's the skill. It built the skill. Add this to my skills. Yes. And now I can, what's it called? If I do /, there's my weekly sales report skill, and I would just upload a spreadsheet, and I could just keep making this skill better and better and better as I go through here. But that's how you would build a skill that could be reused. Okay. Think about, like I said, what skills would apply to you and your business. And like I said, I don't have the answer to that. I don't know what skills would apply to you. I can tell you this. If, there were, some type of, you asked me to come out to your organization and you were like, hey, how can I become more efficient? How can I remain competitive in the era of AI? I can tell you point blank what I would do is I would start by saying, tell me your workflows that matter. Let's write on the back of an envelope the workflows that matter, that generate revenue, where you're tracking the KPIs, the workflows where there's ROI involved. I need for you to map that out, number one, on the back of an envelope. Once you map that out, let's talk about that together. All right, to go from point A to point B as we go through the workflows that matter. For each step in the process, tell me what skills are required. And when you tell me what skills that are required, then I'm going to go here to Manus and build those skills out if I can. Now I'm going to have a collection of skills that I can just keep calling over and over and over again. Then I'm going to say, now that I have the skills, tell me how an employee would help. Tell me what your job roles are. How do these job roles impact your workflow? And then I go a step above that and I say, now I'm going to create an agent, a synthetic employee that uses these skills. If I'm in MarTech, I might say, hey, I'm going to do maybe an email campaign. Maybe I have live leads. What does that process look like? What are the skills? Maybe I'm a realtor. What are the skills involved with that? And when you have an assistant to a realtor, which one of those skills would they use? It becomes a self-fulfilling loop. But I wanted you to see concretely, this is what a skill looks like. And when you stack those skills together, you can start to create these synthetic employees. Okay, that's all in the resources. How to build these skills from scratch. And like I said, an agent is going to use the skills that you provide. An agent is going to use the skills that you provide. This is the future of work, folks. What I'm showing you right here, every one of the skills that you create, define once. I know a lot of business owners. I know a lot of entrepreneurs that have that DNA. And the biggest, complaint a lot of us entrepreneurs have is that I'm always waiting for my people to give me something that I can do in 5 minutes. Create a skill out of that. Make it reusable so your whole team can use those skills. Combine the skills. All right, let me do this. There's one other thing that I want to call out. So this is meant to be, if you do the / in here, once you create a skill, just do / the / and do manage skills. Okay. Do the / and manage skills. It'll show you the built-in skills that are created and the skills that we just created right here. So here's one I created for Nano Banana Slides. Whenever I do a presentation, I just say what I want to talk about, and the skill creates the slide deck for me. There's one to generate videos. So if I enabled, for instance, this video generation skill, if I enable this video generator, I'm going to create a new task. There's a video generator skill. Create me a short video that I can post on Instagram about my AI business and how we create voice agents or synthetic employees. That skill exists. It's going to use that skill to create a short video for my business. I can update that skill. I can create new skills. The hardest part is I don't know, what's important in your business. That's why I said the first process is identifying the workflows. Once you identify the workflows, it's waiting for me to answer all these questions right here so it can, you just make best guesses and build the video. Okay. Understand your workflows, understand the skills that are required to implement your workflow, build the skills out here in Manus, and see how they all interact together so that you can create a synthetic employee out of that. So while this is doing this over here, this is building out the video. I said we can create audio and video. Let me go over here to Veo 3. I'm going to do two things at the same time now. Manus is building out my video over here. But if you go to Google DeepMind, I'm going to try in Gemini. And in here, I can create, I think it's up to 15-second videos, and you can stack those videos together if you want. So I own a small boutique motel that's really close to South Beach. I'm going to do an ad campaign that I'm going to run on TikTok. I just need a short 10 seconds of back footage, showing all the highlights of downtown Miami and maybe South Beach. I don't know. Okay. So again, I use Whisper Flow. I give it a goal. When I give it a goal, it's going to take a couple of minutes. When I give it a goal, the goal is going to be the target. From that target, it'll go out now, create all of our artifacts. Veo 3.1, it's really, really good. It's probably the most cost efficient. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that if you want to create like shorts and reels and all of that for your maybe your campaigns on social media, for instance, then just tell it to create maybe 4 15-second videos and use something like CapCut to tie them all together. So this is what I use to create videos, right? To tie them all together. Right. So here I just asked for some back footage and here it is. Okay. So I just asked for a short, 8-second video. I can do whatever I want with this. I can upload a picture of me if I wanted to, and I could be at the center. I could tell it to talk, and you'd see it would have dialogue that's included in this. Okay. So that's Google Google Veo 3.1 will allow you to create any videos in any format. I can give it sample videos and it could go from there. Okay. Okay, same thing over here with the skill that we gave it. I told it I need for you to create a video for a short campaign. It asked me a bunch of qualifying questions. I said, I don't really care. Do whatever you want to do. And so it's taken full creative control and it's going to build out my full Instagram reel from here. Okay. Now, obviously, I could have been way more involved with this prompt, but we don't have a lot of time. Okay. All right. So let me wrap this up so that I can get us to questions. Okay. Number one, these are some examples that I would encourage you to take a look at. Sales summaries, CLTV, data analytics, inventory alert, social media performance, basically managing your day-to-day. Managing your day-to-day. Build your skills. Build your skills one at a time. You have something that you want to get done, just like I did before. Hey, I wanted you to create me a pitch for a pool business. Okay, great. I like this pitch. Perfect. Make it a skill so I can use this for all of the business pitches that I do moving forward. This is what Alejandro is sending out to everyone. There's going to be a template. I have several skills that I've already provided. I have marketing skills. I have skills here. I'll tell you exactly what the I'll tell you exactly what the skills are that I've built. I believe a lot in the marketing. So I have a lot of marketing skills is what I have. So I have a brand voice skill, a positioning angle skill, so you can find the angle to make the sale. I have a live competitor research skill. I have a keyword research skill. I have a lead magnet skill. You just add the skills to the agent, and that's all you need to do to execute them. I have direct response copy skill, SEO content skill, a newsletter skill, an email sequence skill, a content atomizer skill. Basically, a full kind of circle of skills that are related. I'm just interested right now in marketing, in MarTech. So I have all of these skills whenever I want to have an email campaign or any campaign, any advertising campaign. I use these skills, and that's what I do. All right, so two things here. Time is money. Time is money. Anything that you do more than once, build a skill out of that in Manus and just call that skill and it'll do it the exact same way every single time. There is quantifiable ROI by simply saying, you know what, come hell or high water, I'm going to learn how to build a couple of skills and you will start to automate what you do. So I'll leave it there. Somebody asked, I think I still have it. So what I'll do, is I'll put in a Alejandro. I'll send also a contact me link if anybody wants to contact me for any like professional like next level skills. I'll put in a contact list as well. You can kind of sign up for that. We can do that. Question in the chat is there any alternative to Manus? OSP.net. Literally, that's what we do. You can also use Claude Cowork. It does the exact same thing. ChatGPT, they will allow you to use the same skills that I just showed you right here. But you might want to watch ChatGPT because their stock has been falling recently. And Gemini has started to accept skills as well. But Manus is the most robust for right now. So yes, there are alternatives. Once a skill is defined, can it be programmed to do things on a pre-developed schedule? Absolutely. Yes. Once you have a skill defined, then yes, you can go into that skill and then you can schedule that skill to run at predefined times. So that's what we do, like I said, at OSP.net. Hey, you need to capture leads. Let's go out there every morning at 7 a.m. and go out there and pull our lead list in at 7 a.m. So by the time you wake up, you have a list of leads that's just there and ready for you. So yes is a short answer for that. Okay, I have 1 minute left. I hope I've answered all of the questions in chat. If not, please let me know. Alejandro will be sending out the presentation, step by step, how to do everything that we talked about in here. I also have some additional use cases, and I'll send out a form if anybody wants to hop on a call and see if there's any kind of synthetic employees that might make sense for your organization. So with that being said, Alejandro, I'm going to turn it back over to you, sir.
Awesome, Dr. Lee. Thank you so much for this amazing again, and thank you for teaching us today. As I mentioned before, I will be sending this link to the video once it's ready. I'll share it to all those who registered today and send out any additional information Dr. Lee wants to share with us today. I mean, some of the stuff that he's mentioned, I'll include that in the blast. So awesome.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee, thank you.
I appreciate that. And thank you guys. I hope you got some value out of this, and we'll keep the momentum going.